Hey guys, it's V-Man from No Budget Productions. Welcome to the Pizza Roll Diaries. And with me is my good friend Sean. What's up, man? How we doing?
Not too bad. How about you?
Uh, I am here, man. Not too bad, not too bad. What you been
No,
up to, man?
can't complain.
It's been a while since we've chatted. What have you been up to, man?
uh Really nothing much. Working on a few scripts right now. Hopefully, a couple of those should be out this year. Last year was a bit of a how do I say it? A kerfuffle, to say the least. But I've gotten back into a place of, you know what, I'm back to making stuff, which is really good. It's good to get the YouTube channel, my channel, back in a good place of making content that I'm gonna enjoy, and saying to hell with, well, not to hell with the rest of the people, but it's like, really, if it once you create stuff that like you yourself like, especially in the editing process, which can be really drawn out, you really end up uploading something that you're really proud of. So that's kind of helped me create some really interesting stuff as of late. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting back into the fan films. So
Well, you've been doing some kind of. I saw a Spider-Man thing you were working on a while ago, wasn't it? Like you were in
uh
some costume, Spider-Man costume, wasn't it? Like a long time ago.
that was I think that was for the Comic Expo a few years ago. Yeah, I regularly do that, and it's actually like a month away from the basically Comic Expo, Comic Con, that sort of thing, coming to Calgary every year. So that's
Is
what
that
I
something you do? Is that something you do every year, or
it's something I do every year at this point. It's like it, kids love it. It's I get lots of looks, so it's really nice to be in the suit. And then special occasions too. Like I know Sony is going to be re-releasing pretty much the entire anthology of their Spider-Man films in theaters to celebrate their 100th anniversary. So, not saying I'm going to see absolutely every film, because I do have a life, but if I can sneak into like Spider-Man 2, or if I can sneak into No Way Home or something like that in the suit, I absolutely will. So
now which one of your favorite, or which one of the Spider-Man movies out of all of the live action ones was your favorite?
oh, jeepers. Okay. Obviously, a good comfort Spider-Man, what I really grew up watching, because it came out around the time that I was like 5 years old. Definitely Spider-Man 2, which is without a doubt, just classic grade A Sam Raimi at his best. And I feel like a lot of comic book movies as of late, they've lost that kind of that inherent campiness that comic books bring, while still having some real heart
It's
to
got
it,
a
and
lot of
practicality.
charm. Yeah, it's got a
Exactly.
lot of charm to it. It knows what it is, and it doesn't try to be something that it's not. Like, it's not too dark, it's not too campy, but it stays within the realm of what it is, and it knows exactly what it is. To me, it reminds me of like the Deadpool movies. Like, they know exactly what it is, and it doesn't try to step too much outside the box. Where some of the more modern movies, they try to either be too big budget or too much of a grand thing. Like, take Ant-Man Quad.
Mhm.
What was it?
Quantumanium, or
Yeah, Quantumania. Yeah, like I love Ant-Man 2. I love Ant-Man 1. Like, those are two of my favorite
mhm.
comic book movies, just because they're so low. Um, they're everyday hero. And I can relate to that. But you get the Quantumania, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Exactly.
I don't relate to it. But you go to Spider-Man 2, and like you said, it's got kind of the charm, the Sam Raimi at his best. It's got a great villain, and Doc Ock. I
Mhm.
don't normally like Doc Ock, but Alfred, I forget his last name.
Molina,
Um, yeah,
absolutely kicked ass in
he,
that. So
he makes you care about him. And then when they brought him back for
No Way Home.
Yeah. Oh man, it was wonderful to see him again. And I think he was one of the hearts of that film as well. You
Because
know.
I always look back at No Way Home. Well, because first, what I like about Spider-Man 2 is that like for once, like that entire trilogy, it wasn't focused on trying to and it but back in like 2012 you get shot for saying this. It wasn't focused on building a cinematic universe, but I feel like audiences have really gotten sick of that at this point now that Endgame's done and Marvel is really struggling to trudge along. So it's nice that you can watch Spider-Man 2 and not have to really worry about anything. You don't even really have to see the first film. It gives you kind of a rundown in the credits, so that's nice. But when it comes to No Way Home, I'm always gonna have just this association because like I went to see it on premiere day, December, what was it, 16th of 2021. I remember that day it was like minus 40 out, and naturally I insisted on wearing the Spider-Man suit. Skin tight spandex in a complete blizzard. I was like, no, I'm making my way to the cinema. So I get there. I plop down, full house. There's other kids in their Spider-Man suits too. It was cool to connect with them and whatnot. And then they try and get the movie playing, and it's just sound. Like there's no visual whatsoever, and everyone's kind of freaking out. Okay, what's going on? Theater plunges into darkness. They're trying to reboot this. They're like trying to get it back going. 15 minutes later, it comes back on, but it's the 3D copy, and we were no one sees 3D movies anymore. So everyone's like, come on, Kate, we want to see red and blue, not this red and blue. So they had to dial that back, and then finally after we got to a certain point where they showed like the proper version, we were like, yay, no more issues. So and then I relate seeing No Way Home a lot like there's this Tommy Wiseau movie called The Room. It's often regarded as like the worst film of all time. But the appeal of that movie is that you can go to a screening of it and it's audience participation. It was really weird going to like a brand new like MCU movie and having so much audience participation. Like you see Charlie Cox's Daredevil, everyone is like, oh my, no, he's actually here. It's not a rumor. And then you see Alfred Molina, you see Green Goblin, you see all of that. And then the film hits its low point, killing Aunt May. And then as soon as Ned starts doing Doctor Strange magic stuff, and you get this little glimpse of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, everyone in the theater, like I swear, they were like meerkats going, no, no, wait, no, 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 and you see him more, and you see him come closer to the camera. Everyone's screaming at this point, go, no way, no, and he jumps through the portal, rips the mask off. There was popcorn flying in the air. You couldn't even hear what anyone was saying in this movie, and it's funny because Marvel obviously knew this was going to happen. Because if you watch No Way Home without that crowd interaction, there's quite a bit of awkward silence because they really it was kind of like it's like watching a sitcom where there's no laugh track.
Yeah, no laugh track, right? Yeah, they
Exactly.
anticipated what was going to happen. They knew their audience, and they played to it well.
So from there, it wasn't even a movie at that point. It was like a concert. It was an absolutely unreal experience. So yeah, like No Way Home's always gonna have a special place in my heart. It's probably the best theater experience I've ever went to.
Yeah, I think for me, the I think Endgame and No Way Home. I think those were two. I think those were like the great place to end it because I think we're kind of. I think you're right. I think we've kind of ended the. I think we've kind of ended where like the cinematic universe is kind of where it feels cohesive. It doesn't feel cohesive much anymore. I mean, everything's still connected technically, but it doesn't feel like it. Where back in the day, everything did. It felt like you wanted to watch the next thing that came by. You know what I mean?
Mhm. And
Uh,
it's rule of threes as well. Just like I like how the MCU it was very much like a three act, three phase structure. Like you're adding more and more on that. It really is filler. I feel like uh you know, the studios just don't know when to stop nowadays. And then you look
Yeah.
at Sony's strategy of, yeah, we're gonna do Spider-Man minus Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you're not Jim Davis. You're not doing Garfield minus Garfield. You can't do that. Like it's. I haven't seen Madam Web yet, but God, I can't wait to see it so I can roast the ever living hell out of it.
I was actually looking forward to, like, even knowing that it probably wasn't going to be any good, and knowing that once reactions started coming out and knowing that it was negative, I still wanted to see it, but it's now gotten to the point where it's so, because I don't really care about what most people think. I mean, hell, I still like Batman and Robin. Granted, it's because Royce likes it, you know. But it does get to a point where you do have to separate. I can enjoy a bad movie for being a bad movie, and I know what this is, and then looking at something and going, why do you keep making bad movies? I mean, look at Morbius. Look at a lot of these movies that they keep putting out that nobody really has asked for, that nobody really wants. And instead of giving the audience what they're looking for and compromising on certain things and saying, we could make more money here, and this would be satisfying for the audiences on every level, well, and you know, we can make more profit here, and with something nobody wants, or that's going to get bashed by the consumer. And that's what they don't look at us as. They look at us as just a pocketbook, and you know, idiots is what they see us as, instead of what we really are, which is a consumer. And we're highly intelligent because we're talking to each other online all the time, and they have to know, but yet they still keep making the same mistake over and over and over. And it's like, if they were to look at, hey, when you did No Way Home, look at what the reception was to that. Stop trying to go create your own cinematic shit. Play fair and take a bigger, you know, maybe a smaller chunk, but it's a more stable pie per se. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I feel like it's only going to get worse, because like I very, very vividly see these studios writing their scripts with AI, completely generating movies through AI, because they genuinely think their audience is stupid. I think it was really intriguing to see Dakota Johnson come out and be like, audiences aren't stupid. Kind of hinting that Madam Web very well might have been a casualty to this sort of AI process. Which, by the way, I feel like Dakota Johnson really has hit a breaking point of being in freaking every bad movie for the past 10 years. Like I'm sure she's got flashbacks from 50 Shades, and it's like, hey, now you're in a superhero movie. We swear it's going to be good. We swear it's going to be just like 2015 all over. No, it isn't. It really isn't. It's a complete dead fad, just like how 50 Shades was a dead fad of trying to capture the Twilight thing. Like I feel like these companies, these studios really are behind with that, especially Sony. And it sucks because like they are making good stuff. You look at Spider-Verse. So yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, it costs way too much to go to the movies. I mean, it costs here, I think it's like $14-15 a ticket. And then it, you know, for popcorn, I think it's like $11 for a tub of popcorn. And for soda, it's like $9 for a drink. And it's like, my God, how much is carbonated water and syrup, you know?
Nowadays, the experience is just crap. Like you go into the theater, the floor is all sticky, and then there's that one kid that every 5 seconds, "Mommy, what's happening? Mommy, what's happening?" Like, hey, how about you take the kid out, shove an iPad in its face, because Mom, that's frankly all you're good at nowadays. Get the kids out of the freaking theater if they're going to be doing that. It drives me absolutely bonkers. Like, there's no reason to go to a movie theater. There really isn't.
Well, like, I love, I mean, you know how much in dad mode I love to be. Exactly. You know, I'm always going and you know, with Royce doing stuff, and ever since I was a kid, I wanted to take my kid to the movie theaters. You know, that was always a dream of mine. Like, man, this is something I want to share with my son. You know, and that's something, like, ever since Royce has been old enough to go, I've, you know, wanted to take him. I took him to Paw Patrol when it came out. I took him to uh, shoot, I mean, there's just several cartoon movies. I took him to Across the Spider-Verse when it came out.
Yep.
Like every chance I got, I took him to a movie. Now he appreciates getting to go. But he is one of the few kids that I actually see going. Usually it's people older like I am. Like we saw Super Mario Brothers, he loved it. But it is getting to the point now where people really want to just sit at home and stream. And I can't say that I blame them. And you have to kind of wonder. I mean, take Section 31 movie, for instance. Like they're making the streaming movie for Section 31. And I think that's really kind of the testing ground for CBS/Paramount to see, okay, do we want to do another live action, big budget Star Trek movie, or do we want to just kind of make smaller movies for the streaming service and see how this goes?
It really is another development in because I call it Schrodinger's Star Trek 4 because it's been on again, off again. Will it happen? Will it not? So it could very much be a testing ground for it. Having heard rumors about it, I'm expecting all kinds of retconning. As soon as I heard that it's going to be a prequel, like going even like past like backwards from like 2233, I'm expecting them to really pull some Calvin timeline shenanigans where it wouldn't make sense because like that Calvin timeline was created in 2233, so everything before that should be the same as the prime timeline. So I'm very much expecting them to go, oh hey, we got, and they were already starting to do it in Star Trek Beyond, like going, hey, this is the USS Franklin, it was the first ship capable of warp 4, and it's like, how come that looks a lot nicer and more sophisticated than the NX-01 Enterprise that could go warp 5?
Yeah.
So,
And that, yeah.
and
Well, and that's the thing. Like I never, like I had the same problem when I watched that. I was like, wait a second, these things don't line up, you know. And I actually have a video coming out on a future show that I'm doing called Geeky AF, where I discuss inconsistencies. Like, and one of the things that I discuss is Khan, and did Star Trek Into Darkness go too far with using Khan? And the explanation that they give in the movie, like they don't really give any explanation, and they delve into some of it in the comic book. And the way I've always felt, and not to go too much into that show, but as if you're going to do something that is questionable for a somewhat retcon, which as us nitpicking fans, we're going to look at that and go, that looks nothing like Ricardo Montalban. And if this happened before the time jump or the time change, you have to explain that. And I know that if it happens in a comic book, that doesn't count, because if it doesn't happen on screen for your movie, it has to be self-contained. And the explanation in the comic book, although for me it was not satisfying, it was an explanation. So you have to do those things to explain. And your mention of the Franklin, to me, it was just as annoying as when Kirk says, "Oh, we're at warp, they can't catch up," and then all of a sudden, "Oh, this ship's faster than us," and the Vengeance catches up. Like you have multiple warps, you know.
Because all of a sudden it's ridiculous. Like
to me, what I would have done for there is say, hey, make it the Excelsior, make it transwarp, and then all of a sudden what you're saying makes sense to us nerds. You know,
like, what's the point of a ship in space being big and black? You realize that other ships have sensors, and then another. You're like, because you mentioned the comic book route. It drove me, like, that's bad enough how they did that to Into Darkness. At least it didn't really concern like any major events in the timeline or anything. But then you look at Star Trek Picard, and I touched on this in in my video titled "What's the Deal with the Enterprise?" How the Enterprise E, without a doubt, one of my favorite Enterprises, along with the F, getting completely sacked when it came to canon. You look at the Enterprise E, and it didn't have a deserving fate whatsoever. It's something you got to read in a comic book, but in the show, it's a throwaway gag blaming Worf for the destruction of it, and they never really reference that ship again. And then you look at the Enterprise F. You're gonna put it in a 30-second shot. Yes, I know you're paying tribute to there's a designer for Star Trek Online named Thomas who helped really remaster that ship, and it was designed by a fan. It's beloved in the game. It has its own canon in the game that stretches back, like it was in the Iconian War. It was in a sense of Deep Space Nine. It was involved in a lot of stuff, captained by an Andorian captain. And you're gonna take all of that, throw it in the garbage, and say, "Hey, so it's 25, whatever date it is now, 2401, and
Yeah, 2401.
Yeah, it's being retired. It's like it's a brand new Odyssey class ship. What are you?
Yeah,
doing?
I wasn't. That was one of my that was one of my few nitpicks about Picard season 3. I loved, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, you're one of the few people, like, I mean, you've read the script to Constar, the motion picture, and like that was like Picard season 3 was my inspiration for making the father-son film with me and Royce, and coming back, and I loved Picard season 3. I cannot stress that enough. However,
it's not inexcusable.
I did not like that for what they did to the Enterprise F, or no, yeah, the Enterprise F. The Enterprise E, I can, I can. Well, the E, I can kind of look past for being like, well, we don't really explain it. Okay, they want to pull a gag there. Okay, I can let that go. I mean, I'd kind of like to know what happened, but okay, it's fine. What really bothers me is the fact that they're retiring the flagship for being out a couple of years. That's like retiring the Enterprise D in season 5 of Next Gen. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Exactly, and they've already established that the Titan is like, it's got older components. It's a little worn down. It's got a new shell, but it's still, I guess, technically Riker's Titan underneath, so it's still using those like 23 systems.
See, I'm not a fan. Like, I don't like that whole reboot or when I look at that ship, I don't see Titan, or I don't see Riker's ship. I don't at all. Like, I don't.
It should have been Riker's ship.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like the fact that they made that the new Enterprise. I don't think they should have done that. I think the only reason they brought that Enterprise F in was to make the Enterprise G. And the way I see it is, like, why did you even bring that in? I don't think you should have. In my opinion, what I think they should have done is, I think they should have had Shelby on the Enterprise E and then destroy it there. I think that would have, because we all have a connection to the Enterprise E, have it be destroyed there to where it's a real oh shit moment. Because I have no connection to the Enterprise F. I don't care about it. To me, I thought it was an ugly ship. No disrespect to whoever worked on it. Yeah, I don't have any connection to it. To me, it was, you brought in a ship. I mean, it's no different than the cut and paste ships from Picard season 1. I don't care about it. I mean, I have more
goddamn inquiry.
Yeah, I don't have any connection to it. And I thought it was an ugly looking ship. And I don't see, we didn't spend any time with it. We didn't get a close enough shot to it to where I'm like, if I'm looking at it from a distance, I don't recognize it. So if they would have made it the Enterprise E, even though I don't like the Enterprise E, I would have felt a lot more connected to it and been like, man, fuck you, Borg. And then, and then make the Titan the next Enterprise. I mean, I still don't like that, but at least it would have been more fitting. But it just seems like you're throwing out Enterprise names like I don't know. I can't think of anything appropriate. But it just
throwing Enterprises around like dollar bills at a strip club.
It doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it does.
But back in the day, I sound way older than 25 when I say that. But back in the day, Enterprise, that was a sacred name. You do not the ship doesn't deserve it. You do not put the name on that. And like, not saying the Titan doesn't deserve it, but it's a real diss to the people that served on it, and plus you're establishing it as the Titan A, establishing that it has a lineage, and then you're gonna
You're cutting off that lineage.
Titan doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're cutting off that lineage. What happened before doesn't matter. Yeah, no, and that's exactly it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I am going to have more.
Go ahead.
No, that's okay. Duty calls. Yeah. So granted, I am looking forward to Star Trek Legacy or whatever they're going to call it, which is interesting because that's also the title of one of my favorite Star Trek video games. So seven's going to be a great captain. Oh.
What do you think about what do you think about Star Trek Discovery season 5?
I wish I said I wish I could say I care.
Yeah.
That really is the sad thing. I was really optimistic about season 3 because I was like I was hesitant to give that a chance. Really liked how that was developing, but then you're gonna end it with the whole burn that they've been mentioning over and over and over again. Like, God, if I have weird flashbacks of Michael Burnham saying, "We got to figure out what happened with the burn." So
the thing that got me on the burn was you had this great mystery, and then how they ended that mystery. I was like, man, fuck that.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that. And I have a video with that coming out on Geeky AF. So if you want to hear my thoughts on that, guys, tune in. Not to self plug here. I feel like your show has turned into like 50 cheap plugs for my own show. But
yeah,
like no,
yeah, take it.
And so I felt like my ass was chapped with the end of season 3. So going into season 4, I was like, well, maybe it'll get better. Like everything's established. Let's delve into it. And I felt like season 4 was like all over the place. It wasn't as bad as Picard season 2, but it was really fucking slow, and it did a lot of nothing.
That's a sad world that we live in when Picard season 2 and like you read about the synopsis of Picard season 2 and it's like, oh my God, Q's back, an entire season with Q, and then there's this Confederate timeline one.
Yeah.
It sounds cool for that to be like rock bottom.
Dude, the first 2 episodes, and I'll argue that Picard season 2, the first 2 episodes, fucking great. Outside that, it's all over the place, and you're like, what are we doing? Like, you got Borg in the past, and you got Picard acting like Rambo, and then he's running underneath the city or his house looking for a key, and the key was there the whole time, and then we got hugs galore, and Rios is in the past, and we're going to leave him there because it's okay, and fuck everybody. I don't give a shit. And then you got Girardi singing, and the Borg took her over, and she's in the future now, and it's like the whole thing is just like 10 hours of my time that I can't get back, and I feel cheated,
like Picard season 3 and I would say even Discovery season 4, those make me much rather want to watch like the freaking Ghost Candle episode of TNG on loop, or A Night in Sick Bay, the one where like Archer's dog is in a giant jar of goo, and then they keep referencing how much he really wants to have sex with his first off.
I'd rather watch Masks, that episode in season 7 where Data. That's how bad Picard season 2 is. That's the thing that I hated about Discovery season 4 was I was so again I'm engaged by what's going on, and I'm curious, but then we get to the payoff. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Again,
you might as well just call it Star Trek Blue Balls. That's what it is.
I really hated it because I'm just like, none of this makes any fucking sense. Like, and the fact, like, one of the most exciting things I felt was we're gonna go visit the Galactic Barrier. Awesome. They made that boring. I was so like, you're gonna go fly in bubbles, and other bubbles hit bubbles, and I was like, this. This was someone just drinking seltzer, and they were like, "Let's the bubbles," Like, Jesus Christ! Like,
Today's episode of Star Trek is sponsored by Perrier. So it feels like Finding Nemo.
bubbles.
Yeah.
So we get to season 5, and we see the trailer, and if they didn't put the title on there, I wouldn't have even known. And like, I did not care. It looked like a generic action trailer, and I, just like you, I wish I could say I was excited, but I'm not, because I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't care about anything that's happening.
And like, it's funny too, because that's why Star Trek Beyond failed so bad, despite being a really, really good Star Trek movie. It's because that first trailer, and Simon Pegg was even like, that's not what I wanted us to present for the first trailer. It was just nothing but action, nothing but Kirk riding around his motorcycle, and it's like, you can't have that for Star Trek. You need intrigue, you need obviously action, but you need spectacle, you need intelligence. Yeah.
I think Star Trek Into Darkness was the best of the Kelvin movies. I really do. I think it explored the crew as we know them, as close as they were on the TV show. To me, I felt like it had the most heart. It didn't rip off Wrath of Khan in any fucking way. We didn't have Spock yelling out no for really poorly. I felt that it was. I really enjoyed Star Trek Beyond. Did I say Beyond earlier, or did I say Into Darkness?
You said Into Darkness.
Okay, no, I meant Beyond. Star Trek Beyond. I felt like Star Trek Beyond was the best of all of them. Because you had the crew you had the crew acting like the crew should, and even though Kirk felt distant, and you had Spock kind of looking at things going, okay, after this mission I'm going to check out. Like, you had them at the end coming together, and again, you had them all acting like a crew, even though the ship got destroyed. Like, there was a lot of heart in that movie, more heart than I felt in regular Star Trek or Star Trek Into Darkness. And it really sucks that it was kind of glossed over, and people kind of tend to lump that in with the other two. And I don't necessarily think the Kelvin movies are bad. I really don't. It's just
neither at all. So
it's just, you got to know what you're getting into, But I'm not excited for this season of Discovery, and I hope I'm wrong, because this being the last season,
Same here. And and people were shocked about it being the final season. I thank God, really. I feel like that's the Discovery. It feels like it's the last thing that Alex Kurtzman really has his hands on at this point. I feel like rebooted Trek's gotten to a point of we've gotten some other really good creators in there, like Picard season 3. I have no problem seeing Terry, what's his name, the showrunner,
Terry Matalas.
Yeah, exactly. I have no problem seeing him run Trek. He's going to do great. Lower Decks, still as funny as ever. I was not, particularly one for some of Rick and Morty. It's nice to have a Rick and Morty style show for me, and it's nice because like Star Trek Lower Decks is it's a show that I can show clips to Lexa, and like her knowing nothing about Trek, like I show her Boimler just like losing it on every alien at this conference, or Moopsie. That's been a really fun one. I'll just send a random GIF of Moopsie. It's great for her not knowing anything about it, and then for me, I'm laughing hysterically because it's such good commentary into the community and the universe. And then New Worlds, utterly fantastic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Royce and I had Mona order these purple shirts for me and Royce, and we're like this weekend, because it's the first weekend in a couple weeks that I've actually had 2 days off back to back from work, and me and Royce are going to make our own choo choo shirts. Nice. For anyone that's watched Star Trek Lower Decks, like that's and he loves that. Like I was driving to him, take it to his babysitter today. He was watching Lower Decks on his iPad, and he was like, "Dad, I'm really glad you showed me Star Trek." And I was just like, "Oh, "Fuck, man, don't cry, don't cry. Be like a Vulcan. Be like a Vulcan."
Colinar.
Yeah, right. So we're almost at the 45-minute mark, but before we get there, I want to play a little clip. It's about 5 minutes long, but I want to play it because it's my favorite scene that you were in, and I want to play it, and then afterwards we'll talk about it for a few minutes, and then maybe talk about a little bit about your future that we have in Constar, the motion picture. Little spoiler free, but discussion. But I want to talk about this that you were in. So we'll play this, and then we'll talk a little bit about Constar, the motion picture. So
enjoy.
You do not belong here. The end of days was avoided, and yet your kind still finds a way to destroy yourselves.
I'm looking for Varen Frost.
I am Varen Frost. What you seek is not here, and what you will leave with will not satisfy you.
Let me be the judge of that, sir. I'm looking for a friend of mine.
Yes, I know of Eobard Menard. Hunter Menard. He has many names, but one face. You all do. Many lifetimes overlapping. Which one is it you seek? At what point do you seek?
I'm not sure I follow what you're saying.
Do you seek him before or after insight of certain knowledge? Your kind always wants things, but when limitations apply, they are no longer desirable.
I want my friend back. Whatever shape he's in, I'll take it.
He is completely whole, succeeded in his journey, although like you, he did not feel it when he departed here.
Where did he go?
Never went.
Is that a place?
Most certainly.
A place where I can go, right?
It's not for you to go. No, your journey is elsewhere. The man with the timeless daughter still needs healing. In that, you will find your path.
Timeless daughter, you're speaking in riddles like... Are you the one who wrote the prophecies about the end of days? The man in green?
Why would I write about that which does not apply to me?
It's just that your statement sounded like... It was Eobard, wasn't it? He was with you when he wrote the prophecies.
He saw glimpses of what I saw. What started as a quest to save his father turned into a quest to continue his father's path.
To stop the end of days.
Yes, they both knew of the threat the man in green proposed. So Eobard asked to write down our discussion to warn civilization.
How did this not alter time?
Because he had done it.
But what if he wouldn't have done it?
Then he wouldn't have asked.
Wait, I'm confused.
You are thinking in such small levels, as is common in your species. But it is time. Go.
Is there a way to get him back?
What's happened has happened.
So that's it?
There's nothing else to tell here.
I can't accept that.
You must. And when you realize you are fulfilling your path, You will see what you failed to envision so long ago.
Captain, are you ready to beam down?
Are you saying I haven't beamed down yet, Mr. Levi?
No, sir. We just arrived in orbit and are awaiting your transport.
Mr. Levi, change of plans. Get me in contact with Captain Mitchell.
Understood, sir. How we stopped our investigation into Captain Menard?
I think I found what we're looking for.
So you have come. You've come a long way from so many things, man. From investigating Menard to going and looking for Eobard to doing Constar the motion picture. What is your insight in all of these things that you've done from the beginning to here to what you will be doing coming up?
You know, I'm really proud of the character. I was not ever envisioning for me to get like so attached to a character and also find Sanders so cathartic in a weird way. 'Cause like there are a lot of times in public where like I out of a weird defense, like if I need to be a dick, if I need to be aggressive, if I need to be even confident, there is a little bit of Sanders in there. So it's really helped me Sean develop a lot of confidence into myself, sort of tap into that well. And I'm really happy that people have responded so well to him, like especially with the content that I've written for Sanders as well, like for memes to be spread of his freaking chair. It means the world, just seeing people really resonate with a captain which I still really do believe influenced Captain Shaw on Picard. I think there's a lot of coincidences there. So no, I'm really thrilled to be playing him. Really thrilled for the motion picture. And like I said, I have one script written for Sanders, which is, you can think of it as a prequel to Constar the motion picture. You can also think of it as a sequel to the other two films I've done, Little Lies and Try Honesty, sort of capping off that story arc. I got to do some rewrites with that, which I'll be doing hopefully this month, and then get some people on board. It'll be really good. I'm really looking forward to that. And then being really heavy into Star Trek Online, I really wanted to. I was playing around with an idea of transporting Sanders into that universe. So using like actual in-game footage, because now in the console version of the game, you can turn off the HUD and manually kind of control the camera to get certain shots. So like there'll be actual ships, and I've actually decided, because like I have like my own ships in that game with their own names, their own lore, and I think it would be cool to be able to almost establish some of myself into Constar in an alternate dimension, alternate timeline kind of way with Star Trek Online, and also to do something with a game that I really love, a game that's experiencing a lot of inner turmoil company-wise right now, with everything going on with Embracer and Deca and stuff like that. Just show, hey, you know what, this is, at least for me, really the premier Trek experience, especially with all the story content from Trek actors. I know the latest episode, Harry Kim was in it, Dax was in it, taking on the Borg Kingdom, which are Terran Borg, which are freaking amazing to fight in the game. So no, really looking forward to the future, the motion picture, and everything in between.
Well, that's part of the beauty of your character is that he's connected to the family, but yet he's outside and he kind of does his own thing. Like take the film Unsteady. Like Mitchell calls out to you, and then you're off to the adventure, you know. And then when the story's over, you're off to the next thing, you know. And Constar the motion picture, for those that don't know, and you'll find out, like it doesn't heavily have Sanders in it, but Sanders is a big part of the film. The film, I mean, it poses a lot of questions that when we look at Sanders, we're like, what do we do? You know, and yeah. I think with what you have coming up with your story, which, as you said, is kind of a prequel to the motion picture, and a sequel to your other films, and the way you've discussed with me, it blends them very nicely. Which was why I wrote the thing the way I wanted to, because I wanted to respect what you had in mind for your character, because he is your character, and I've always tried to be that way with the actors that are in the Constar films. Is, you know, the characters that you guys play, they may be, you know, Constar characters, but they're your characters, you know, and what you guys have in mind. I always tried to respect those things, but Constar the motion picture does not work if your storyline's not there, you know. And so we try to resolve the motion picture in a way that gives you the freedom to do like what you're talking about with, hey, let's see Sanders in now another dimension and get to go play in another sandbox, you know. And I'm excited to see what you have in store for that, you know, because I love getting to kind of talk turkey with you and be like, hey, what do you think about, you know, what do you got on next on the horizon, Sean? Because I like watching it as a fan. You know, when I see you online and playing the Star Trek games, I'm like, yay! You know, because I have no idea what any of that shit is. I'm like, I couldn't do that shit, you know. But you're very creative as an actor and as a game guy, and just whatever you bring to the table, whatever you're working on, it's always smart. And you know, it's very creative. So I love that. I love getting to work with you on whatever we're doing. So
I try my best. I figured I'll give a little bit of a teaser, just a little bit, for those who are curious as to what I am writing in terms of that Sanders story. The Star Trek Online one hasn't, like, I have a rough outline, hasn't been written, but the sequel, the finale to the Little Lies Try Honesty trilogy, as I call it, I need to figure out a name for it. Sanders is going through a mental health crisis with his lack of paradoxin and his deteriorating mental state. And Tesler, in the meantime, has gone missing. So
dum. Yeah, no, I can't wait to see it shot, and I can't wait to see the people's reaction, because like again, the way everything just flows. I mean, it's just this leads to this leads to. I mean, it's just again, it's on the tip of my tongue. Like, I just want to spoil it for everybody and be like, tune in, you know. But honestly, all of you guys, like when these stories come out, you guys are in for a treat. So if you guys have followed these characters for any amount of time, you're in for a treat. And there's going to be some jolts there that you may not see coming. So prepare yourself, you know. But there's good and bad. So
there's going to be a lot of dark moments, but I've been sure to throw in as much humor as I can to try and soften that. But at the end of the day, you're going to be shocked. You really are.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something you and I do pretty well at, is balancing it out and delivering the good and the bad, you know. And your stories, I really love the fact that it really, especially that last one, it was the Twilight Zone moment where you're looking at it from one perspective, and then all of a sudden you flip the scales and you're like, shit, man, now I got to go back and watch this again. And what did I just watch? You know, you're very crafty on your writing. So I can't wait to see how this one unfolds. So, but anyway, that being said, the only thing I have to say, man, is the next time you're in a spandex Spider-Man suit gallivanting around, you're gonna have me to compete with you because we're gonna have to have a costume contest, and maybe
let's do it. Yeah, we'll be
there you go. But I'm Spider Gwen. That's the only thing I can say. It's
there we go. Yeah.
there we go. There we go. So all right. So that being said, everybody at home, thank you for tuning in. Sean, thank you for joining us. With that being
said,
thank you
very much for having me again, and I'm looking forward to being on next. And stay tuned for the next film, which shall be called "Kill All Your Friends."
Absolutely. Be genuine, be safe, and keep on geeking on, guys.
Let's do it.